And hello, Madison Magnet members. Welcome to our latest edition of our coffee conversation series. Today we have, there you go, Nikki Javurek from the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce as our guest. We'll introduce Nikki here in just a second and then get into our topics at hand. But as a quick reminder, I'm Alex Vitani, Vice President of Madison Magnet. And continuing this series is a way to keep our members engaged and informed with topics that are relevant to life during these crazy times we're in. For updates on events, we're starting to roll out some more virtual events here, so make sure you visit our website, madisonmagnet.org. And if you have any questions, topics you may want to see on this series, questions about your membership, events we have upcoming, feel free to email me at vp@madisonmagnet.org. So with that, we'll get started with today's coffee conversation. So Nikki, welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so a quick bio on Nikki. So she is the Director of Business Development at the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce. And so what that means is her work involves engaging members and growing the collective business voice here in the Greater Madison area. In previous lives, she worked on political campaigns in Oregon, Colorado, and Wisconsin, and government relations for a bike advocacy nonprofit. So you're a perfect fit here for Madison. She's a proud big sister in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, which is a great program. I'm a big as well, so that's very cool. And volunteers when she can at Second Harvest Food Bank, which has been a volunteer opportunity of ours at Magnet, and the YWCA Children's Program. On personal notes, she lives in downtown Madison with her fiance Ben and their wiener dog Oscar. So maybe Oscar will be making an appearance at some point during our chat today. But and if any dogs, or in my case cats, interrupt, we ask for your grace because obviously we're all adapting to working from home. But Nikki, thank you for joining us today. So we appreciate having you.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me. And yeah, you and I kind of talked about this before. It feels like dogs and cats and kids and everything is sort of fair game these days.
Yeah, and in our prep, my Siri went off. So if you hear any ladies yelling at me in the background, it's probably her. So, so Nikki, just real quick for our members who may not be familiar, can you share a little bit about the role that the Chamber of Commerce plays here in the Greater Madison area?
You bet. So the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce is our regional chamber. So some folks are familiar with, smaller local chambers. We are the regional chamber, so it's kind of Dane County and a little bit beyond. We have about 1,200 members that really span, size. 70% of the top 100 companies are members. But at the same time, kind of on the flip side, 85% of our membership is 50 employees or less. So we, really try to be the business voice of Greater Madison, which includes, kind of being the steward of Madison's brand, so that people see Madison as the truly innovative place that it is. Mm-hmm. We do work around Madison's economy. We do a lot of advocacy work. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that we are a chamber that doesn't take any government funding so that we can remain politically pure. So that means that, we aren't sort of tied to anyone else's wishes, I guess. And we can do the things that are best for the businesses in Madison. And then of course we do a ton of work for our members too.
And can you elaborate a little bit? I know we mentioned just a line or two in passing on your bio, but Director of Business Development for the Chamber, what does that look like for you? What's your day-to-day? What's your long-term work entail? All that fun stuff. Yeah,
well, I think like most people, that definition or that description has changed significantly, pre-COVID versus post-COVID. Previously it was engaging members, making sure that people kind of know all the things that they can take advantage of, with our work, growing the collective business voice. It's important that we have, a critical mass to make sure that we're representing as many people as we can and we're all sort of rowing in the same direction. And so that was, kind of my basic job initially. And then with COVID, it's been, we've ramped up a ton of our programming, a ton of our offerings, a ton of the stuff that we're doing. So I've kind of put a little bit of my, I guess, political advocacy hat in some areas, and I've, been doing some other programming. So it's been all hands on deck, but it's been interesting and, good to know that we're doing work to be helpful.
Yeah. And that's a good segue to our second question, but I would be remiss if I didn't provide a public thanks for the chamber. They've been a good partner of Magnets over the years. We host our board meetings in your guys' office. We've had speakers from the chamber over the years at various events, so we thank you for helping support our organization, the young professionals that are part of it here in the Madison area too. So thank you guys for that. But to segue to some of your points, obviously the past 5 or 6 months now, I've lost track. I don't know how many days it is.
Time is a construct, right?
Yeah, there was somebody in my neighborhood who used to put a calendar in their window with like the day that it was, so you can remember what it was when you're walking by. They've since moved, so I have no idea what day or time it is.
I literally wrote February or like very recently on a document. So,
well, it'll be February again eventually. So, so it's obviously been an interesting time, pandemic related. A lot of social issues obviously have cropped up recently. And we see what happens with that, but there's also some economic things that are tied to that as well. And so I'm curious if you could share a little bit about how the past 6 months have economically impacted our area, and then maybe some of the ways the chamber has helped area businesses respond to that.
yeah, you bet. So, I mean, I think, Madison has been hit, as every other place in the, I guess, the world has been hit. At the same time, we talk about Madison's economy. We are growing. We are a place that is very diverse in terms of economy. So we don't sort of stake our claim on one industry, which is really, really helpful when we look towards an economic recovery, eventually. So I think there are a lot of things that we are hopeful about as we kind of tackle this. I think too, we have a lot of really amazing companies, within Greater Madison who are doing work to, solve the global challenges that COVID has presented us with. So, whether that's some of the companies who are actually manufacturing vaccines or providing, pieces of COVID test kits, it's been, Madison has done a lot of good things, kind of through all of this. And so in order to support our businesses, to help people get through this, we've, really just kind of gone into warp speed since day one. We, started very initially with a daily update. We were hearing, and I think everybody felt it. It was like information overload because so much was happening. Especially at the government level, with the initial CARES Act and then CARES 2, with the PPP program. There's just, kind of a lot going on at, all levels of government, people trying to help, which is great. And a lot of people really wanting to be as helpful as they can. Mm-hmm. But, some of that, it just, for a lot of people, especially, small business owners, it got really overwhelming. So we, did the best that we could to be that kind of collector of all information, to help people sort through all the stuff that was coming at them. So we were sending out daily email updates. We also very, very early on created a virtual Q&A platform that let people come to us with any questions they had, members, non-members, anonymously, it didn't really matter. And a lot of those skewed towards, governmental, program questions, questions around the, the safer at home order, the forward dane order, helping people kind of parse through all of the things. But, we've answered probably, I think, over 100 questions at this point, questions that weren't easy questions to find answers on, but were, kind of fun to dig into. And that was actually something I led, just,
nice.
Kind of out of necessity, but has been really interesting. And I think really helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah. I remember early on, Zach Brandon, president, CEO of the chamber, president, led a session with kind of a joint session between chamber, Downtown Madison Inc., and I think another organization on some of those initial questions and what has happened. It was very informative and very helpful for people because like you said, Nikki, there was just so much information swirling around. It was changing all the time. I'm not a business owner and I was overwhelmed by it. So I can only imagine if I was working to keep people on payroll, keep my doors open, what my brain would be doing there. So we appreciate all the work that the chamber has done and will continue to do to keep to keep everyone here viable. Any outlooks? I mean, what's the chamber's kind of, obviously it's constantly changing, it's a fluid situation, but if you had to if the chamber has a line on kind of what the outlook is for potential recovery, on any forecasting ideas or thoughts you can share with us on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just, sort of like I mentioned earlier, that we have, a diverse economy that a lot of folks are saying is going to be really helpful as we look to recovery. So we, while it is a really tough, trying time, and while it has been really, really hard, I think that we are hopeful that we can bounce back fairly quickly, once we kind of get over this little that we call COVID.
Yeah. Well, I heard somebody on a webinar or whatever I was on a couple weeks ago talk about the twin engines that we have of the university and the government, obviously the state government headquartered here, and that certainly helps. And then just on a personal level, just how resilient everyone's been, folks helping each other where they can, kind of all banding together. So I'm optimistic. Maybe that's just my disposition, but I see it in the folks that we work with, in our organization, in the business community, et cetera, too. So hopefully we can all keep that optimistic outlook, here when we need it most. So, so for our members, just out of curiosity, what kind of opportunities might the chamber provide for YPs for getting involved, whether that's directly through the chamber or a program that I was a participant in, Leadership Greater Madison. I know that the chamber helps support that. Are there some opportunities where our audience can get involved with the chamber?
Yeah, of course. I think there's a lot of different areas. Obviously Magnet, you guys are doing great work. Leadership Greater Madison is a program that I'm actually a part of this year, which has been really interesting. And in a COVID year, it's a great group. It's a lot of fun, and you learn a lot. And so that's something that I would encourage everybody to consider doing. It's a year-long program, and something that we're a part of. I think just more broadly, for young professionals, it's really important to stay connected and to get connected, whether that's with other people, other businesses, other opportunities, other organizations, and just knowing what's, kind of going on in Madison, what the environment looks like here, what there's so much. And sometimes I think it can be overwhelming, and I think there is such opportunity in learning from other people and engaging with other people. And so the opportunities that the chamber offers for that level of connectivity, I think is really something that every young professional should take advantage of, especially young professionals who are part of companies who are, currently members. What a lot of people don't fully understand is that if your company is a chamber member, any and all employees can take advantage of all of our work. So you can come to all the events, you can register things. Yep. And so if you, are part of an organization and you, aren't getting our emails or aren't able to come to our events, or, just kind of don't have your finger on the pulse, I would highly recommend just you can reach out to me, you can reach out to anyone on our team, and we can get you, plugged in so that you can really have access to the opportunities that, we provide.
Yeah. And that's a great reminder on the membership, because I think, you may think that you need permission, or maybe your boss will come to you and say, but actually if your company's a member, which you can probably find out pretty easily, you're able to show up. And that's always a great way to build your network, get to know the right people, bring some value back to your organization too. And odds are your business, if you're employed here in the Madison area, is probably going to be a member of the chamber too. So that's an excellent reminder. So I'm almost at the end of my, sorry, go ahead, Nikki.
I was saying, we really try to be intentional about helping people make connections too. So at events, we're really good about facilitating conversations. If there's, people that you want to engage with, or people that you want to meet, or companies that you're interested in, we're always happy to facilitate those conversations. So I really encourage people to, come to, get to know people, get to know us, get to know our team, so that we can say, oh, hey, I know you were thinking about, volunteering in this area, or looking at, moving into this industry, wanted to make sure we made these connections. So I always say, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So
that was my piece of advice, is, you don't know unless you ask, and the worst thing somebody can say is no. But at least in my experience, people here in Madison are very giving of their time and their networks, and they'll make those introductions. So encourage you all listening, watching, to reach out to Nikki and the group at the chamber. So I'm almost at the end of my cup of coffee, Nikki. So that means we're on the last question.
Yeah.
So for our members, we always like to leave them with an action item or two. What are one or two things young professionals can do to help support the chamber's mission of supporting area businesses? Kind of open forum for you on what's something that that we can take away from this conversation today.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, a couple of things within the organization, obviously, if you aren't, currently a member or you aren't engaged at all, get engaged, sign up, make sure you're reading the emails, be involved, take advantage of our programming. If you aren't currently a member, would encourage you to be a member. I think I talked about earlier, everybody rowing in the same direction and having, kind of that critical mass to make sure that we're doing the right things for our economy and our businesses. And so, getting to that place takes everybody. So adding your voice to that would be really important. I think, sort of on a just, basic level, and it seems so simple, is, shopping local, supporting local businesses, going to the places and utilizing the people who are small businesses located here. I'm probably as guilty as anybody. I feel like young professionals tend to, shop online more than probably the average person. But being really intentional about, where you're spending your money. And also, we talk a lot at the chamber about kind of the equilibrium between, safety, public health, and consumer confidence. And there are so many businesses who are really, really taking safety to heart, and who are putting in a ton of practices, who have gone above and beyond to make sure that they're providing a safe place for you to shop, a safe experience, whether that's curbside pickup or offering masks at the doors, or, really enhanced cleaning protocols. And so personally for me, I try as hard as I can to support those businesses who are, taking those extra steps to show that they care about consumer safety. So, finding out who those folks are, I'm always open to offer some recommendations, but particularly, places where, I don't know about you, but, I work on the square and probably ate lunch out too often. My fiance would probably say that I ate out too often. But, what was that?
No such thing. Too many great restaurants around here.
Right. There's so much good food in Madison. But, they're all struggling. They have a lot, there's just challenges coming from all different directions. And so the more that we can, support, so we try to, order Eat Street, a couple times a week. And, it doesn't have to be unhealthy. You can make healthy choices too. But, just supporting the businesses so that they can get through this and then, come out on the other side.
Yeah, and that's a great reminder, because the folks that are working in these businesses, they're our neighbors. The people they employ are our neighbors. The taxes those businesses pay go back to help our community, and so it's all part of the ecosystem here. So where you can, shop local, eat local, stay local, all that fun stuff. So Nikki, just before we close, any upcoming chamber events, maybe virtually or website, anything you want to plug that our members should know about?
Absolutely. We have a couple of things next Friday, which I guess if this is going to be posted next week, it'll be this Friday, the 14th.
August 14th.
Yep, August 14th. We have Pressure Chamber, which normally is an in-person event. It's a pitch contest, 5 companies in Madison pitching for the Golden Suitcase, which is a chance to travel to San Francisco, meet with investors. So we're doing it virtually this year, so it should be easy to be a part of it. And there's some really cool companies, a ton of good innovation in our city. So highly recommend attending that. And then we're going to hopefully be announcing some dates and speakers, which I can't talk about, but it'll be exciting.
That's a good teaser, though. Keeps people coming back for more information.
Absolutely. For Icebreaker, which normally is in the spring, but obviously with COVID, it's been a little bit different. But we're really excited about the event in general. I can't really say more, but I would definitely be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. Hey, Icebreaker in September, October, or whenever it may be, we'll take it at any point in time, because that's a good event. As my cat tries to join the fray here. So, as we talked about at the beginning, the hazards of working from home. But Nikki, thank you so much for your time. Nikki Javurek from the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce. Appreciate all you're doing for us, and take care.
Likewise.
Thank you, Nikki.